Welcome back to Garden Talk, brought to you by the Penn State Erie County Extension Master Gardeners. And again, I'm your co-host, Mike Bailey, and I'm here with Ellen DePlacido. Ellen, good morning.
Good morning, Mike.
How are you today?
I'm good.
You're still good, huh?
I'm still good.
Hey, the weather's starting to warm up. We're seeing more
Yeah.
sunshine. It's all good.
We didn't have to shovel to get
We're
here.
heading into a nice growing season.
Right.
In the last few times, we've been talking about starting seeds indoors and, transitioning them to outside. But one of the things that we did not mention that we need to mention is that when these plants, when your little babies that you've been growing in-house, right,
Mm-hmm.
under these nice, gentle, calm conditions, they need to be prepared to go outside, don't they? You
Yes,
just
they
can't take them and throw them out to the wind.
No.
They're not going to do well, are they?
No, you'll probably lose most of them, if
Yes.
not all.
Yeah, because they're small and they're tender.
Uh-huh.
In fact, these plants that you're growing on the inside have a tendency not to develop a complete or maybe even any of what they call a cutin layer,
Mm-hmm.
which is in that cutin layer is a small, thin layer that's on the leaves of those plants, that when they're growing outside.
Mm-hmm.
The ones that are growing inside, that's pretty much missing.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to go back and kind of encourage that cutin layer to develop.
Right.
And we can do that by gradually introducing the plants to the outdoors.
Mm-hmm.
And we say about gradually introducing them. How long is this going to take, Ellen?
Oh, it could take maybe a week.
A week or so, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Get them used to it. We call it hardening off.
Hardening off,
Yeah,
okay.
I guess that's the term.
Yes,
we
that
use.
is
Yeah.
the term,
Mhm,
right? So,
mhm.
It's just like when we give the analogy about you wouldn't take a newborn baby out to the beach
Right.
or go out and sit in the sun in the yard
Right.
with a newborn baby. It's not going to do
Right.
well. Or even us.
Right.
First time you go out in the springtime, you're going to get burned.
You better be careful.
Yeah, you better be careful.
Yeah.
So how do we go about doing this?
Well,
Okay.
I think, again, we need to differentiate between the warm and the cool weather plants because you're not going to take them all out at the same time.
Okay, fine. You're right.
Usually. It depends on the temperatures. But that's called hardening off. And if you're talking about cool weather crops, daytime temps are usually 50 degrees or more, or 40 degrees or more.
Yeah, yes, okay.
Yeah, they can go out a lot earlier. But you're not going to take them out the first day and leave them out all day long. The first couple days, you might leave them out 3 to 6 hours.
Okay.
Depending, if it's real windy or the temperature drops, you may have to bring them in sooner. Always bring them in at night at this point. And then after a couple days of that, you might take them out and put them into some filtered sun. The first 2 days would be in the shade.
Yes.
The next 2 days would kind of be like maybe under a shade tree or something like that where they get partial sun, not too much wind, okay? And again, you watch.
Yeah, the wind can be a real problem,
Yeah,
can't
the
it?
wind can.
Yes.
Mhm. And again, 3 to 6 hours each day. And then the last 2 days, hopefully it's the last 2 days, and you leave them out in the full sun. So they get used to it, and they'll build up that cutin layer on their leaves, and hopefully when you plant them then, they will be protected from that
Okay.
sun.
But the idea is to kind of keep an eye on them, right?
Yeah, I mean, just don't think because you take them out that you can just leave them sit there. If the wind picks up, the temperature drops, lots of rain or something, or like it's been lately, snow, you might want to bring them back in.
Right. So keep an eye on them, and if it
Mhm.
looks like they're not handling it real well, keep them inside for a couple of
Right.
days,
Mhm.
and then when the weather adjusts a little bit, start
Start
the
it again.
process again. But
Mhm.
you don't have to go back to square one, but
Yeah.
start the process over again and
Right.
move them through it.
Mhm.
So watch for leaves that are maybe turning brown around the edges because that's going to mean that they're going to dry out. Remember that whole soil medium is going to dry out a little bit quicker
Mhm.
outside.
Right.
So you got to be careful of that.
Mhm.
And then if they're getting a little bit yellow or whatever, or not tolerating the sun or even the shade a little bit, bring them back in, and then we go through it again.
Okay.
But the warm weather crops, it's pretty much the same drill, right?
Yeah, it's the
Except-
same, but you're going to wait a little longer until the temperature reaches about 55 degrees during the day.
Yes.
You're still going to do it in steps, a couple days of, 3 to 6 hours in the shade or
Yeah.
under the,
Yeah.
under a tree,
Yeah.
like
Shade to
Shade,
partial to full.
Full sun.
Okay.
Mhm.
So in those first couple days in full sun, don't leave them out for 8 hours in the full
No,
sun.
don't.
Put them in
Yeah.
the sun for a couple of
Yeah.
hours, and then move them to the filtered light or whatever. You can leave
Right.
them outside
Mhm.
as the temperature's
Yeah.
warm. Now, what happens when we kind of put them in the garden? When's a good time to do that?
Well, a good time to do that primarily is when it's not real sunny, maybe a cloudy day, or earlier in the morning when the sun's not out yet, or maybe in the evening when it's not quite as sunny.
Yeah,
but you don't want to go out and plant because they're still kind of like baby plants. So you don't want to go out there in the heat of the day and put them in the ground and have that sun beat down on them for the next 6 hours or so.
You're right. Okay. Very good points. Okay. Keep in mind that you got to, transition these baby plants to the outdoor temperatures in the garden. You spend a lot of time, getting them to this particular point.
I mean, once you put them in the ground, you can't take them back out.
Yeah. Don't miss the last step.
Right.
Okay. Get that one down too. Also. So thank you for listening. Ellen, it looks like we used our time, so we're gonna close out now. Okay.
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 All
Thank you
right.
now. Okay. Bye bye.
Bye bye.